Hey guys, Sharpend here, and in this video we're going to be recreating two synth patches from Passing of Time by Robotaki. The original sounds like this. And the sounds we'll be making today sound like this. So this tutorial is based on a request that I got recently about the synths from Passing of Time by Robotaki. It sounds like this. And if you listen closely, you can hear two different synth sounds. You have a main backing pad sound that plays one chord per bar. And you have this sort of like main melody synth. And we're going to be making both of these. So let's start with our backing pad. This one is fairly simple. I think it's an Omnisphere preset or something like that, because I think I can hear like tiny choir O's, but you can make this without it anyways. So I'm using a square wave, and pretty much any random other wavetable will work just fine. I'm using this one because it has a lot of additional harmonics. And here's the square. So what I'm doing is I'm having some slight attack on the volume envelope and a longer release. I'm using a low pass filter and I'm opening it up very slowly using an LFO and envelope mode, like so. I'm just playing one chord per bar, and basically the release is helping the pad not sound like it's cutting out every time I switch chords. And that's it. You don't want any reverb or something like that. This pad is very dry on the original song, so we're making something similar as well. And as for the main synth, this is very interesting. Actually, you don't need a very complex patch. This one is very simple. I've started with a saw wave, and I've sent it to a low pass filter that I'm opening up using this LFO. As you can see, it opens up really fast and then closes much slower. And it's set to envelope mode so that it only happens one time per note. And let's hear it. So let's remove all of these effects and let's hear it on its own. So as you can hear, it's not really exciting at all. I have another oscillator that sounds slightly different. I've just added it to add some texture, and together they sound like this. I'm also using this LFO to also modulate the volume on both of these oscillators to create some more movement. And I've added some slight release as well, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't sound too fancy, but the cool thing about it is that since you're playing multiple notes in this synth lead, it gets really interesting once you add some distortion. So this is what I've done. I've added a lot of distortion. So I've started with some dimension expanding, just a tiny bit, and then some chorus using the supermassive, just to add some stereo width to it. And then I've added the distortion. So I'm using the rev plate and I'm using a tiny bit of room reverb on the lowest decay time possible and on maximum drive, so you get this sound. And as you can hear, this already helps all of these notes sound a lot more interesting. And I'm using the tremolator to create a rhythm. Basically, I'm using the ramp up, which looks like this, and I'm using it on a quarter note of a rhythm, so it basically just sidechains to every kick. But I'm also increasing the input gain to also add some distortion. The cool thing about this plugin is that once you click this button, you can choose from 8 different modes of, well, distortion. Once you increase the gain on the input or on the output, you're going to hear some distortion as well. So let's hear it. I'm going to remove the sidechain. So as you can hear, it squashes up the sound a bit more. And then this is optional. I've added a tiny bit of filter jam, mixed it like 40%. I'm just using it to create a resonant peak to add some more interesting harmonic content to our synth. And then together with the backing pad, you get this sound. And if you want, you can also sidechain the pad by just copying the same tremolator patch. And that's pretty much it. Make sure that you mix this fairly low if you want to create something like the original. And once you put it in an environment that doesn't have a lot of other instruments, like here you just have a kick, a snare, and a bass guitar, so it's very noticeable even though if it's played at very low volumes. And that's pretty much it. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what subject you want me to cover up next time.